Chris, I am so excited. Um, I talk about this person so much, and so many people ask me about who is this person that you say is your boss or you used to work for, and you all been on the phone for 3 hours and 2 hours and texting, and he's like your brother. And so I just thought, and with us having Bible study and this kind of like a few weeks, I can't think of the word right now, but almost like a series. We've been doing a series of the mind and the heart. And Chris, I just thought you would have been amazing. Just to kind of introduce you to my friends and family. And also, like I talked about, Chris, I think so many people are just so amazed by you. It would just be good to just introduce you as well, even to your friends and everything. So I just want to introduce to everybody my people, Chris's people, the world's people, my friend and my brother, Chris. How are you today?
Thank you. Always honored to be speaking with you, Robert, and thank you for such a warm introduction.
No
Hello,
problem,
everyone.
Chris. I talk about you all the time, even to today, and it's just amazing how because you were my supervisor, my boss, and I don't even remember, but one day something happened. I was probably stressed, and somehow it triggered a phone call from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to almost 7 o'clock at night. And ever since then, Chris, I think my life has changed. You brought up angel numbers, which we want to talk about, ask you a little bit about, and just so many other things, and really just keeping me grounded in my purpose and making sure I stay true to myself. And I appreciate you for that, Chris, because, I'm learning, and I definitely learned with you, Chris, that me coming from a very religious background, and they taught me to pray, to read the Bible, and all of these things. But however, and not just myself, but a lot of people still lack confidence in their inner man in order for prayers to really get answered or for life to become the way they want it to be. And so I don't even know if you realize to that extent how much of an impact you had on my life, but you really gave me the authority to the access that I already had, if that makes sense to you. You really showed me, my authority, and, you just really connected a lot of dots and took it further than just the surface. And so that's what I really hope that everybody, but definitely the quote unquote church people, can really get from this, that it's a lot of the inner man that you have to work on first in order for God, or whoever, whatever people call it. I call him God,
Mhm.
Jesus, but whoever you worship, whatever you believe in, it starts first within yourself and how you feel about yourself, Chris. And so that's what I appreciate you for.
Thank
And
you.
I'm gonna say this, I joke, it's like you're like my cool big brother, because my mom and dad, they, like I say, they taught me the way, and even about spirituality and spiritual things. But like I said, it was kind of surfaced. I got there, I know how to get there, but then it's like, now what? And so, Chris, I just thank you for, you taught me this is what you do, that's what you do. And you still focused on making sure I stay in good and not going over to evil, and realizing that I am a light. And a lot of the things that I say, Chris, you are so parallel, and it's so much like the Bible. And so you even encouraged me to read the Bible more and just increase my relationship with God. And publicly, Chris, look, I'm talking, you know how we go into this lovey-dovey stuff. But Chris, and I'm really going to turn it to you. But Chris, you're one of the people that even inspired me to start being more public with Bible study and posting my clips and everything. You really inspired me and just really had a huge impact on me that you'll never know. There's no words I can even say, but I was just so excited to do this with you and dig deeper with you. And honestly, I don't think this will be the last time. This will be the first, but definitely not the last. So I love you, and there's so much, but that we can talk about. So I'm just going to at least try to start at the beginning, Chris. And like I said, we can always have multiple, get ups together after this. But Chris, your mind is just so wow. And just how you think and how you present things and how you view things. And my question, along with probably so many other people who know you and admire you, how did you get started into this? Where did this come from? Really studying this and this beliefs and just really your approach to life and thoughts.
Sure. Thank you very much, Robert. Thank you for everything. You are amazing as always. And Robert keeps me humble in my heart. So I appreciate him. When it first started, it's always a great question. For me, it was eighth grade. I lived a very different eighth grade. I met a group of people traveling across the United States marching for world peace. And I met this group, and throughout that time, I learned a lot about peace and world peace. And to me, it was this epiphany moment and a greater calling to me that we can live a life peacefully. I was able to do it here in Illinois. I live outside the Chicago suburbs. And then I went all the way down to Washington, D.C., and we marched for peace down there at Washington, D.C. And on the steps of Abraham Lincoln on the monument, thinking about Martin Luther King Jr., and literally seeing that same crowd out there, but seeing a different crowd, but it was one and the same, that they were there for the movement of peace. And I had a strong belief in eighth grade, believe it or not, for global nuclear disarmament. And, really what I learned through peace was it taught me to think with my heart and more importantly, feel with my heart. Yes. And realize everything that's going on in the world today was happening from the ego. It wasn't coming from a place of love and a place from heart. So it was really there. And in eighth grade, as we've talked about for many years, I've studied the angels, the archangels, and all the angels that we work collectively with. Robert talked a little bit about the angel numbers and receiving information through numbers, which we'll talk a little bit about. That's happened in my life. I've always had a strong connection to Metatron, one of the archangels, and just has been a guide in my life and has taught me so much. I was very fortunate to start seeing him at his young age. I didn't know what it was, but it was this crystalline light and this blur of light. And he started coming to me at an early age and then kept coming later. And, I went through 8 years of Catholic schooling. So I did have a religious upbringing, a good Irish Catholic upbringing. And really a big change in life happened probably about 20 years ago when I found spirituality. I started studying Buddhism. I was very attracted to the monks, was able to do some studies with the Buddhist monks, learned a lot about meditation and oneness during that period of time. And it really brought me to this gift of spirituality. And to me, there's no borders, there's no divisions between religion and spirituality. It's all one and the same. It goes back to exactly with the principles of Buddhism. Everything starts with one. And that's really where my belief is. So that changed my life. And then I really dove deep into this. I started my awakening and my ascension process. And it has changed my world. It taught me to feel with my heart. And, Robert and I talk a lot about those great feminine qualities and feminine energies. Yes. That brought me back to that. It brought me back to my feminine energy. That brought me back to my heart. And it changed my life. And I think, the one thing that Robert and I talk a lot about is application. We can learn so much from scriptures. We can learn so much through meditation. We can learn so much through every one of our daily practices. But yet it's how do you apply it to day-to-day life? And that's where that connection came between Robert and I. We were working one day. We met this woman. We decided to talk to her. Somehow we brought her into tears. I read her an angel number, and somehow that angel number defined exactly who she was and who she is. And she told us about her life, and she broke down in tears. And we both reached up and grabbed her and gave her a hug. And I told Robert that was our job we did today, but now we're actually doing our work. And to me, that's the work that we do, Robert.
Yeah.
As you've heard many times, Robert, I consider myself a light worker. I'm here to bring light, and we're here to help this planet heal. So thank you, and I appreciate it. And thank you for the warm introduction. I always say if you want anybody to introduce you, always ask Robert. He'll make you feel like $1 million.
Oh gosh, well, Chris, no, that was really good. And while you was talking about that, you know, because it blows my mind. And you kind of hit it again. We were at the restaurant talking, and we didn't even expect to, connect with that woman like that. And one thing, Chris, that a lot of times I learn from you because you have a gift of working the room and knowing who to communicate with and knowing who needs what and what people have to offer and to bring. And so with myself, we had a 3-4 hour conversation, and then some of my peers, you connected with them, and even the lady at the restaurant. Chris, how are you able to tell certain people, tell that certain people are open and welcome to your gift? Because the world is so evil. I hate to say it, but there's so much evil in the world. And in that moment with the lady, what I was saying, I think she had said something, and we talked about it later that day, that if we had took it the wrong way, we would have got offended by it, and we would have never broke that barrier. And I just want to know how do you know who to approach and share your gift with during this time, because it's almost like every time you knock it out of the park, even in corporate meetings, you would know which person, even though they may seem stern and rough, you knew exactly how to say something relatable to break that harshness and to bring, like you said, light or a smile to that day. Is there some type of I don't know, how do you figure that out? How do you know that?
It's funny. There's no math, there's no science. It's just a gift. We're
Yeah.
all born with different gifts in our life, and we all have gifts. Sometimes society stifles or we struggle within our gifts because of our upbringing, because of the life we live. But I really believe we're all born with gifts. And what you're talking about is just a gift.
That's right.
It's nothing special. You make it sound like it's Houdini and it's magic, but it's nothing special. It's just a gift that we're all born with. And my gift is that, I can see it. That woman that day, she was a little harsh with us in the beginning.
Well,
And
she was.
we could have looked at her and shared some
Well,
harsh words, but
she
I
was.
realized to give her that space. And then there's this inner knowing. My world, we call it intuition. And
Yeah.
there's this intuition. For me, my third eye, we talk about the third eye planted between the two eyebrows, which is your intuition. You're receiving information through the back of the third eye. You're giving information out the front of the third eye. Your
Yes.
third eye becomes so wide open. And the next thing you know, you're like, wow, she's going through a hard time in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
She doesn't mean to be rough with us. She doesn't mean to be tough. She's just having a hard day. And it
Yes.
was funny because I remember the angel number I read her, and it spoke clearly to her and letting her know that she was going to be okay and that she was surrounded by light and she was surrounded by love.
That's right.
And really, what I saw with her was she was having a troublesome day. And the one thing I always say, Robert, within our light work and the work that we do, we're just here to remind people how to have fun again.
Absolutely.
Everybody forgets how to have fun and how much important it is to have fun again. And with her, we just needed to be nice to her. We needed to be calm. We needed to relax. We needed to make her giggle. We ended up finding out what happened. She went through a divorce.
Yes.
The ex husband just passed away.
Yes,
She
sir.
was having a rough time and she cared for that ex husband and wished she would have expressed more. And all this information came out just because the two of us opened our heart to her.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. And what we call it is the etherical seed. We we present and plant this seed everywhere we go. We plant it in the physical world and we plant it in the energetic world. And it grows first in that physical world when we plant that etheric seed. and then it grows from the energetic. And what that helps us do is heal, and
Yes.
it works with people. And what we saw with her was we brought her out of that harsh state and we brought her to a moment
Yeah.
where she was able to heal. And holy cow, she really, like Robert, she needed 2 hugs from him. I swear it's because he's good looking, but I swear it's also because of his heart. And she needed 2 hugs from him. And that's really what that woman needed that day, was just a hug.
Yes.
And it's funny. She went up to 2 men that are very large and very tall and very bald and beautiful.
Yeah.
But the 2 of us can look intimidating if you see us out in
Yeah.
public.
Yeah.
We brought that down with her. And the next thing you know, she's giving us hugs. We're giving her hugs. She spent time talking. She left. She needed another hug before she even left. So
She
it's,
did. Yeah.
I laughed. I was talking with my mom today about this. And we talk about, like, within energy recycling in the physical world, we talk about carbon copy, right? And we talk about the carbon footprint that we're leaving everywhere we go. And my mom and I was pushing her. I'm like, think about that from an energetic standpoint. Everywhere we go, every step, we're leaving energy, and we're leaving this energy, this carbon energy everywhere we're going. So you think about it, you go to Costco, one of my favorite stores. I'm going to give a plug for Costco today. One of my favorite stores. I love going there. The one thing I love going about there is always busy. There's a lot of people for me to meet, a lot of people for me to greet, a lot of love and light to bring everywhere you go. You stop and say hello, you smile, you let someone go in front of you, you help that person that needs help. You change everybody's day. That just snowballs into the next person, to the next person.
Yes.
Or it could be that guy that cuts you off and you start yelling and screaming and cursing at him. That energy goes back to him, it goes to another person. So, Robert, I've learned every act of kindness brings you 24 hours of karma, as we call it,
Wow.
and brings you back 24 hours of positivity. Every act of negativity brings you back 72 hours worth of negativity.
Oh,
So
wow.
you look at it, yes, the positive is shorter than the negative, but you can keep building it by doing that every single day. My mom talked about it during COVID. Have 8 interactions with people a day. In those 8 interactions, bring love to every single person. Now you got 24 more hours. So me, it's easy, Robert. You asked. Be kind, be sensitive, be sincere, understand when someone's going through a rough time. Bring them love, bring them joy, remind them to have fun again, and get back 24 hours. It's well worth the work for that few minutes.
Wow. Wow. And Chris, that's mind blowing to me because I say this to you a lot. You say so many things that are so scriptural in the Bible, and then a lot of things that are even, as we say and read what Jesus said. And when you were talking, I thought of a scripture in Matthew 5:14 that says, He says, "You are the light of the world, a city that is set on a hill that cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." And Chris, I mean, so many times that's what our conversations are about, being a light and doing it for the right reasons for someone else, like you said. Because Chris, that day had been a long day for us. We could have just, did our own thing and said, forget her, screw her, move on. But you really took the time out of the day, and I followed your lead. And so, you have always been a light, which kind of takes me to this next situation, Chris, because in being a light, I have never seen you. I've never seen you really. I've never seen you in tough situations. We've all been done wrong and misunderstood and treated badly, but I've always seen you turn the other cheek and always looked at it as the glass half full and not half empty. And your focus has never been the person, but their emotions. And,
Mhm.
certain times, Chris, when I felt like someone did me or you wrong, you never focused on the name of the person. You focused on what they could have been dealing with on the inside. And I kind of wanted to, talk to you a little bit about that, but also share a scripture that ties into that, which is fascinating to me as well. And the scripture says, it says Ephesians 6 and 12, it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, and spiritual wickedness in high places." And Chris, I can say I have seen you always focus when there was bad or there was evil being done. You always focus on, as church people would say, the spirit, or as we would say, the evil, or whatever they were struggling with to make them act that way. And so, Chris,
Mhm.
what makes you realize that, when people do that? Because a lot of people that will listen to us, everybody's been done unfairly and been treated wrong.
Mhm.
And so, what gives you the strength, the patience, all of that to focus and realize that it's not the person that's doing it to you, but it's an inner issue or it's something they're
Mhm.
struggling with and dealing with that?
Robert, it's funny. We've all grown up with a lot going on in life,
Yeah.
and I've had a lot of struggles. In the words of the great Peter Tosh, a wonderful reggae man, I was an angry young man, a very angry young man back in my day. I realized all I focused on was
Yeah.
the negativity in the world. And then I'd get aggravated with myself. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. Call it a light bulb moment, call it a spiritual awakening, call it an ascension, or call it I needed to learn. It wasn't working for me anymore. And it was the realization that I wasn't bringing good to this world. I wasn't bringing good to others. My anger did nothing but ruin relationships for myself along with others. And my focus was always on the negative. There was one day that I had to flip a switch. And it was actually, through my divorce during that time and my understanding of part of my reason for divorce was going back to self and learning about self. And if I was going to further myself in any relationship, I had to learn about me. And I had to learn what were my triggers, what was setting me off, where was that trauma I had in life. And, we talk a lot about, especially in our disability world, PTSD.
Yes.
Many of us suffer from PTSD. It's
Yeah.
not just from being in the military or something like that or going to war. We are all carrying so much trauma.
Yeah.
And I know I carried it. I know everybody has it. And it's working through that. And to me, when I look at this journey, no one's better than the other. Everybody's just at a different point of their journey. We carry all these tools around with us. Some have a toolbox with a million different tools because they've learned so much and they had to relearn so much.
Yes.
Some of them might be just walking around town with a left hand monkey wrench because that's all they gave them was that one tool, was that left hand monkey wrench, and that's all they knew how to do with it. And they're just using that same tool over and over again. And they see they get stuck in ruts in this world,
Yes.
and they get stuck in a rut in their life. So to me, it was learning sensitivity. And I'll be honest with you, what made me change? People with disabilities.
Wow.
People with disabilities was one of my greatest gifts that was ever given to me. Um, Gosh, it's 30 years now working with people with disabilities in one way or another. So they taught me so much, and they taught me so much about light, love, and most importantly, unconditional love. So I think that's what changed my life, Robert. It's unconditional love. You know what? I still work on it. I still have struggles. Robert just doesn't see them, everyone. He's preaching a good word about me, but I still have them. A lot of times I choose to go to a quiet place. I don't use the term isolate. I go to my quiet place. I go to meditation. I go to prayer. To me, prayer and meditation is one and the same. It's just two different words, but it's all one and the same. I go to that connection with the angels. I go to work with them. I go to learn. There's many times that I have to ask for help, and
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to ask for help. I may not ask for help in the physical world, but I'm always asking for help in the energetic world. Teach me. Tell
Yes.
me what I need to learn. What do I need to get out of this situation? There's times I get frustrated. My anger has decreased so much. And like I said, I was an angry young man. And really, what I learned is everybody's carrying trauma. And
Yeah.
we're all using the tools that we know. And to me, the work that I do within the light work is to bring new tools for healing and give new tools for people. I came to the epiphany one day, Robert, everything I knew was completely wrong.
Wow.
I had to go relearn everything. Everything that I learned was incorrect. And this world is constantly changing and evolving, and every moment happens in a quarter of a second.
Wow.
But the one thing that I learned was probably the greatest when it comes to emotion. Emotions only last 13 seconds. After 13 seconds, it's your choice of what to do with it.
Wow.
You've got a minute and a half to 2 minutes to decide what to do with that emotion. Is it going to become a moment? Is it going to become a page, a chapter, a book, or a life?
Wow.
And to me, it's our choice. We have the choice. I love it. One of my mentors, Dolores Cannon, always talks about you are the director of your own play. You are here to direct the energy. You
Wow.
co create within this universe and you co create the energy that you want and what you put out. So I go back to that 24-hour rule, put out good to the world, understand people. I don't really think people are born mean, Robert. I'm going to tell you, it's DNA, it's society,
Yeah.
and it's everything going on. It's this materialism in the world. It's the darn ego.
Mm.
I've heard you talk so many times about the ego and the heart. The ego gets in the way.
That's it.
It controls us to the point that that's where the anger comes out, the frustration. The heart only knows one thing and only knows how to love and only knows unconditional love.
That's
If
right.
you get back through that trauma, you'll find your heart.
That's right.
And I still struggle with it. You know, I find trauma sitting down there, stuff I thought I healed 10 years ago. And bam, a trigger comes out. There it is again. Darn it, I got to go right back to work and I have to heal even harder. So it's funny. I always laugh. I say practice by yourself, but if you really want to practice healing, get out there and meet everybody day in and day out, because then you're going to learn what you have to relearn and what you rehab, what
That's
you have
right.
to heal over and over again, because these are all tests and triggers out there, but they're here to teach you. So
Amen.
I look at it as that person that we sat with in those meetings that was really angry and crabby. Something's going on behind the scenes.
That's right.
I like to play like Magnum PI. What's going on behind the scene? Let's get inside that person. Let's figure them out. And I'm going to keep ending with everything, Robert. Teach them how to have fun again.
That's that's
Because
right.
by the way, work should be fun. It's not a job. It should be fun. Everything should be fun in life.
Yes. Yeah. And see, this is what I was talking about, Chris. You know, I didn't want to really have a structured set of questions because you say so much and then it just opens a can of worms. And I want to ask like 15. It just blows my mind with so many things. But you kept bringing up learning and understanding. And Chris, that was one thing. I think you were really the first in my life to really dig that in me every time something bad happens or retrograde, or when trying times would come. You would always say, what did you learn in this situation? And then if something represented itself or re-happened again, you said you didn't take what you learned. And so, and
Mhm.
I heard you bring that up as well, is about learning from your past and everything like that. When did you realize, and I guess, like I say, it's so many areas to this, Chris, but as a leader, a lot of leaders don't realize the importance of learning a tough situation that they're in. And so, leaders
Mhm.
or people that are influencers or trying to do great things, they get discouraged when they keep bumping their heads, or not seeing the success that they want to see. When or how, and I know it may kind of be the same question, but Chris, a lot of people don't understand the importance of learning and understanding that mistake what made you really get it in your head? I know you mentioned those situations, but what really made you shake up out of it? Because we know people that will be in the same situation or recycle the same problem every few months or a few years, not realizing that it is a learning lesson that they're not really haven't taken a hold to. And like you would get
Mhm.
on me, you would always say, Robert, you messed up, you screwed up. That happened because you weren't your true self. You tried to blend and become like what they wanted, when that's where you messed up. You should have stayed yourself, which is tough love, and we all need that. But when did you come to the realization? And I know it may sound simple or may sound repetitive, but so many people, Chris, experience the same hurt, the same losses, the same betrayals, and they end up stagnating themselves because they're not really coming to the learning and the understanding of what was this supposed to teach me, besides not being bitter, and you can touch on that as
Mhm.
well. I think a lot of people recycle situations because they are bitter and have not
Mhm.
forgiven. And so, yeah,
You hit on so many great points, and it's funny what made me start or what made me stop or whatever you want to chicken it. I
yeah,
don't know what to tell you, but I got tired of running into the same old wall over and
yeah,
over and over. But really, it was like an inner study of self
yes, yeah,
and realizing, where am I screwing up? Why am I not going further? Why do I keep running into things?
yes,
The one thing you brought up, I thought that was awesome. You talked about that one time about talking about authentic self.
yes, yeah,
One of my learnings, we talk about, you and I talked about this the other day, love being one of the highest vibrations.
yes, yes,
But really, to me, the highest vibration is authentic self.
yes,
It's truly finding who you are. When you get outside of authentic self, you don't love no more.
that's right.
There's no such thing as love. You can't love
That's right.
unconditionally if you're not your authentic self.
That's right.
Robert, to me, you have been put here for a reason on this earth. Some call it life purpose. We call it soul mission. And we're here for a mission. We're here to do something on this earth. It's a strong belief, it's a desire, it's something that just grabs you and makes you want to do it. Me, I just love helping people.
That's right.
And that's where I enjoy. That's what brings me day to day and makes me feel happy. Um, I've had a lot of issues when people aren't happy because all I want to do is I want them to see them happy. And it throws off my authentic self when I see people not happy
Yeah.
because it drives me nuts. These wheels just keep turning. I want to help. I want to help. I want to help. Well, I just realized I kept running into the same wall, but really it was trying my best to figure out what is authentic self.
Yes.
Who am I? Why am I here? My belief system is, if we don't perform this soul mission, we're going to die and we're going to come back and have to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, I've probably lived, I don't know how many lives now, probably 20 or 30, way too many lives. Um, my girlfriend Jody and I laugh, and we always say we're going to get it right this time. We're going to get it right this time. We're going to complete this soul mission. We're going to help this earth heal. We're going to help humanity heal, and
Yeah.
we're going to help humanity change. And we're going to get it right. And we're going to ascend this time, and we're going to go away,
Wow.
and we're going off to the most beautiful place possible.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
but realistically, back to your question, what changed everything? I just got tired of doing things the same way. I was tired of being aggravated. I was tired of being upset and negative. And I don't know who it was, but somebody told me one day, go find something positive. And I know you and I have talked about this. Find one little thing positive. I know half the people out there listening are going to say, well, that's cheesy. It might be cheesy, but that gets that ball rolling. Where now, when I get down, I go find something positive. I'm not avoiding situations. But I realize when I get stuck in that negative feedback loop, as I call it, I
Yes.
can't get out of it. I am stuck and it keeps going on and on and on. And to me, it goes back to the reason I'm here, my soul mission, but finding positive things. Unfortunately, just a little bit ago, I call her my second mom. She just passed away. And she was with me in eighth grade on the World Peace March, and she used to tell me every morning, because I'd walk past her house on the way to school, that it was good to be being. And Sally always talked about how it was good to be being. She was a breath of fresh air, a light, just love. And she was amazing. And, I think about Sally's comment, and it is good to be being. There's good things happening out there. There's a lot of great happening, but you got to make the choice that you want to find it in life. And to me, it starts with a manifestation. We talk a lot, Robert and I, about manifestations and how do we actually manifest this? How do we make things happen? I believe everyone has the power to manifest the life that they want.
Yes.
And I believe with the right tools, with the right belief system and understanding of self, understanding of God or universe, as I use the terminology, and our belief systems, it's believing in that you deserve something better and that you want something better. And we talk about it. And this is really what changed my life is understanding manifestations, is seeing the illusion,
Yes, ma'am.
seeing it, getting in my meditation, feeling it, asking for it. But then what the game changer was talking about it in the present sense.
Yes.
We're not saying, I want this, I want this. We're talking about it happening. We're living it day in and day out. We're feeling it every day. And then those manifestations come. You can start off with small things. I'm going to be happy today. It's a great day. Today is going to be wonderful. It's going to even get better than I could ever imagine. And then we're actually in that moment. I'm having a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Today is great. Oh my gosh, this just happened. That just happened. Bam, obstacle jumps in the way. Robert and I love to talk about obstacle and hindrance numbers with the angels. All those obstacles are nothing for you but a way to learn.
Absolutely.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
God, the universe, angels, they're not here to punish you. They just want you to learn. And I think, Robert, what we do is keep running into that same obstacle. And one day that light bulb goes off and goes, I got to make a change. So to me, it's manifesting, but those obstacles aren't here to cause you pain. You choose pain. Those obstacles don't give you pain. It's your choice to look at it and go, my life is terrible. My life's going to end. This is awful. Nobody likes me. Nobody loves me. I don't care. It's not there to do that. It's just there to teach you.
Yes.
And I always say, God, universe is only going to give you what you can handle.
Wow.
It's not here to punish you.
Yeah.
They're not here to punish you. They're only going to give you what you can handle. And they're all baby steps and opportunities for learning. So I think it's just being aware. And I think that's it. Getting outside of your head and get back into your heart and be aware and realize you're here to learn and you realize you're here for a mission or a purpose.
Absolutely. Oh my God, Chris, that was amazing. What I'm going to do, Chris, and people that's watching, this will be part one, and then come back, stay tuned, and we'll have part two, finish it up. Thank you all. Hope you all
Thank
enjoyed
you.
so far.